Hello everyone. Today I am going to bring you a grammar lesson on the difference between two very similar words that we use, which are do and make. Well, a lot of people think that these words mean pretty much the same thing. And maybe you're right in a way, but today I'm going to show you the clear distinction between these two words. So please stay tuned while I tell you what is the difference between do and make. Now, first thing that you need to really remember about these two words is that we are talking about action words. And since we're all learning English, we know that action words are verbs. Okay, so as far as the grammar rule is concerned, action words are verbs. Okay, so what is the difference? Well, if both of them are verbs and both of them are action verbs, why should we use it differently? Because there is some difference, right? Well, let's see what the real difference is. The first one, the first word that we're talking about is do. Now, do is mostly used when we're talking about obligations and repetitive tasks. Okay, well, what are obligations? Obligations are things that you have to do, right? So when you get up in the morning, what do? You do something. You brush your teeth. You do things like you take a bath, right? So when you use the word do, most often than not, you will always use it for obligations, things that you have to do every single day or every single month or on a very regular basis, okay? And repetitive tasks are duties or work that you do repeatedly every single day, every single hour, or every single month, or every single year. Okay, so let's have a look at a few examples and see why do is used differently from make. Now, I have kind of made two columns, and the word do can be used in these four categories. Okay, the first category is housework. So if you're talking about housework, well, what are we talking about? Various kind of activities that we have to do at work. Is that an obligation? Well, yes, pretty much it is, right? You've got to do your work at home. You can't do otherwise, right? So let's have a look at a few examples. Okay, so if we're going to talk about housework, we're going to take a couple of activities and we'll say we do the dishes, right? You don't make the dishes, you do the dishes in the sense that this means that you are cleaning up the dishes. So after you've eaten and you've got, you've got a lot of dishes piled up there which needs cleaning, you will simply say, okay, I'm going to hang up now. I've got to do the dishes. Okay. Well, if you have clothes that are not ironed, well, you won't look very good, right? So in that case, you would have to do the laundry. This is another very important housework that we pretty much do every single day. Or in general, if you're talking about household activities, you can say that I do the chores. So when I'm at home, I do the chores because my mom's not around. Okay, so that's how you will use the word do when you're talking about housework, because that relates to an obligation that you just have to do. You can't do otherwise. Okay, the second category, okay, when we're talking about the word do is when we're talking about work or study. Now, work could be general work, or study in general, when you're studying something. So, if I were to say, do your work, I could talk about general work. Do your work, do whatever you're doing, but don't leave me alone, do your work. Okay, but if you're talking about study, you could say, I'm going to do a report. Okay, or I'm going to do a thesis. Thesis is another word for report. So I'm going to do a thesis on birds. So you're basically learning about birds, and you are now going to do a report about it. You're going to study about that, and you're going to write about it, right? So that's what it means to do a report or a thesis. Sometimes you are in college and you are learning, or you are learning or in a specific field. Maybe you're in psychology, or maybe you've taken up literature. That's when you will say, I do a course, or I am doing a course on psychology. I am doing a course on literature. You don't make a course on literature, you do a course. Okay, you do a course on literature or psychology. Now, the third category of using the word do is taking care of your body. Okay. Now, this is very important because we all have to take care of our bodies, right? So when you are doing something which requires that you take care of yourself, your physical appearance, I think that would be more of a repetitive task, right? You keep doing that every single day, right? Or pretty much every once in an hour if you're a very vain person, right? So say, for example, you do your hair. Right? So when I get up in the morning, I've got to do my hair. If I don't, well, I wouldn't look very good and people will make fun of me. So we're talking about doing activities or actions which relate to taking care of your body. So do your hair. I do my hair. I do my makeup. Okay, so people who wear their makeup every single day, for them that is a repetitive task, and they therefore do their makeup. They don't you can also say put your makeup, but they don't make their makeup, they do their makeup, okay? But the only exception for this is taking a shower. So you don't do your shower, the exception for that is take a shower or take a bath. Okay, so out of all the activities relating to taking care of your body, this is an exception wherein you will never use the word do, you will just say take a shower or take a bath. Okay, and the fourth category refers to general actions. There are several actions that you can actually come up with, but I've just put a few so that you are clear about what I'm talking. So the first one is do well. So whatever it is that you are doing, you want to do the best at that, right? So if I'm teaching, I want to ensure that I do the best. So someone might just tell me, okay, you're going to do a video now, do well. So that's a general action. Okay, or you're going to work, or you're going to give your exam, so do well, okay, or do your very best. That's a general action we're talking about. We can also talk about something which says do everything or do nothing. So these are very common words used, so you can tell your friend, do everything it takes to ensure that no one gets hurt, or do everything to make sure you get to the top, okay, or you could say, do nothing to spoil the peace. Okay, so we are going to use the word do when you're talking about general actions. Okay, so it could be any actions. You can come up with some more because there are various actions you can talk about. Okay, so now we're going to learn the difference, because now we're going to talk about the word make and see how that's going to turn out to be and when we are going to use it, right? So make, again, as we've learned, is an action word, and therefore it is a verb. Okay, but now we've got 5 categories for the word make as well. The first one is food. Okay, well, people who are talking about food and talking about actions relating to food, you will never say do. You don't do breakfast, you make breakfast. So the action of actually preparing breakfast is used when you are going to use the word make. So you say, I make breakfast, or I make a sandwich for breakfast, or I make tea or coffee, or whatever it is that you are going to make. Okay. Now, when you're not really going to cook by yourself, but you are going to go to a restaurant, you've got to reserve your table, right? So that's when you make a reservation. You're not doing a reservation, you are making a reservation for 2 people. Okay, so when you are going to use make in relation to food, this is how you're going to use it. The second category on this word relates to money. Okay, so when we're talking about an action word of making money, okay, we all have to earn money, right? We will use the word make and not do. So you make a fortune. You make $100 an hour, or you make 100 pounds per sale that you are making. So when you're talking about money, you never use do, you always use make. Now, what about relationships? Right? So we all have relationships. It could be friends, it could be work colleagues, it could be romantic relationships. When you are talking about relationships, action words related to them will always be words starting with make. So you make friends, right? So you're new to a place, you're not going to do friends, you're going to make friends, right? You're going to make new friends, make friends that, have similar interests like yours. Make up is again related to relationships because make up is basically, patching after a fight, patching up after a fight. So you and your boyfriend had a fight and you've not been talking for a couple of days, but then you've eventually made up, right? So you don't use the word do over here, you will just say make because that refers to your relationship wherein you are patching up after a long fight or after a long time of not talking to someone, okay? The next way that you will use make as an action word in a relationship context is when you make a pass. Well, making a pass is another way of saying that you are flirting with someone. So if you're in the bar and if someone's trying to buy you a drink, they are probably making a pass at you. They are flirting with you. Okay, so that's what making a pass is all about. And you can use the word make because we're talking about an action word as far as a relationship goes. Okay, there are many other ways of using this word in relationships, but I've just put in a few for you and for your benefit. And the next category or the last category of using the word make is when you're talking about communication in general. Communicating is nothing but giving information to people around you, right? It could be in various ways. So we have an expression like this wherein you make a point. Okay, so you're trying to say something. Okay, so when you're trying to say something, or you're trying to talk about a particular topic, that's when you are making a point. You don't do a point, you make a point because you are communicating or you are trying to talk about a topic. You're trying to say something, okay? Another very useful expression I've got for you is make a confession, or you could also say make a complaint. Okay, so making a confession is again the act of communicating because you're telling something, you're confessing something to someone. You're making a complaint is when you're annoyed or angry. You want to make sure that the person knows that you're not very happy. And that's when you will say you are making a confession or making a complaint. You never do a complaint or a confession. You only make one. Okay, and I've got another and the last example for you, which is make an excuse. This again is a way of communicating as to why you did not do what you were supposed to do. Okay, so that's when you make an excuse. You don't do an excuse. Okay, so these are the various ways of using do and make, but you can see for yourself that both these words, even though they are action words, are not very similar. They have a real distinction between them. So I'll be back with some more lessons. I hope you found this very interesting and very informative. I'll be back with some more lessons. Until then, this is me saying take care.